Hello everybody and welcome. My name is Tina Helmut. I'm a Celtic expert and I share ancient Celtic wisdom with the world. And my sources, for those of you who know me, you know this already, are of course written in an old form, an ancient form of Irish. So today, as a kind of a special feature, a little surprise for you, I do an early Irish course with you, and I just show you where I get my information from. Today I'm doing a little early Irish course with you, and don't worry, you don't need to know anything, not even modern Irish. This is all completely self-explanatory, and it really serves as a little introduction. I'm going to do a poem with you, and I'll start off by actually showing you where the poem comes from. It's a manuscript here that you see from the Royal Irish Academy. That's where it's kept, and you see where the arrow is. That's actually where a poem is, and I've given you a bigger picture of this. You can see it there, the very first line. It says, Scéal lev duibh dorid dav snigid gaiv. So that's what that looks like, so that you actually see a little bit of the source texts. And here's the entire poem, and I read it out to you so that you hear what it sounds like, because of course the people who composed this, the poet philosophers of ancient Ireland, they did this orally. Composition of poetry in ancient Ireland was not something that people wrote down. This was done orally, and the sounds were extremely important, not just the content. So there were a lot of internal rhymes where you hear certain vowels coming up again and connecting with other vowels. So it's really, really important to just hear it. And so I'm going to read this out to you, and then we'll go through it so you can actually see how it works and, of course, what it means. So here goes. Scéal lev duibh dorid dav snigid gaiv rofaith sav. Gaius art uer ishe grian gad aris ruesech rian. Ro ruad ras ro kles crus. Rogav gnas, giugraun gus. Rogav uacht etsi ein aigre re emo scéal. So there you have the entire poem, and now let's go. You hopefully heard just how the sounds work with each other. It's not rhyming scheme like we know it, a mouse, house, louse. It doesn't work like that at all. It really is the vowels working with each other, even within a verse and a line. So let's go and start off with the nouns, which I've highlighted here in red so that you can actually see them. And here they are what they mean. Gaiv means winter, sav, summer, gaius, wind, grian, sun, rian, sea. You see how gaiv and sav actually rhyme. They're very similar in sound, and of course they do belong together. For the ancient Irish, the sounds, they were very interested in etymologies that they made up themselves and in the meaning behind words and how they related to each other. And that's how they actually passed on a lot of their philosophy about life as well. So anyway, so here we have grian and rian, the sun and the sea, dav and ras, bracken and stag and an ox. So here they are on their own. Rais, bracken, gaiv, meaning winter. Dav, remember that word? It meant stag or ox. And sav, remember what that meant? Summer. Rian is sea. Gaius is wind. And Gillian is, yes, the sun, absolutely. So what about dav then? Dav means stag, that's right. Gaius is wind, that's right. And gaiv, winter. Grian was the sun, you remember that. Araith is bracken. Rian, it slipped apart there a little bit. Rian is the sea, and sav is the summer. And here we have our next nouns now. See, I go over them a little bit so you actually remember them already a little bit. The aim is here that at the end you can actually look at this poem and understand what it means without me prompting you. So scéal is story, crus is form, guth is the voice, in modern Irish go, of course, uacht is cold, re is the life or lifetime, sort of a big span of time, and rith is running and course. And you can see again how re and rith, they really are connected even semantically, you know, in a way where you could say, well, your lifetime is running just like, it sounds almost like rith. They are semantically connected in a way the ancient Irish would have loved that. So let's go through them again here. So we've got guth, which meant what? Voice, that's right. Re was time and lifetime. Scéal, in modern Irish, for example, you say ein scéal, you know, any news. And in this case, it also means story, of course, news or story. Rith is running, of course, remember the equivalent to re, time and lifetime. Crus is the form of something, the shape. And uacht was a word meaning cold, you know, fuacht in modern Irish. And so let's go through them again. Crus was form, guth rhyming with guth, meaning voice, of course. The re, that's right, time and lifetime. And rith then combined with it or connected with it was the running or the course. Scéal is, that's it, the story. And uacht is the cold. It even sounds kind of a little bit cold, doesn't it? Uacht. Anyway, so next word is ein. Ein means of the birds. It's a genitive case, and you know we're not going to be doing much grammar here, but just so that you just get the idea. And eti is of ete, which is the base word, means wings, and eti is the genitive again of the wings. And aigre is the genitive of aigred, which is of ice, and giogran is from gigran, is of the barnacle goose. A barnacle goose, okay, quite some mouthful in English. In Irish, ancient Irish is just giogran, one word. So let's go through this. Aigres was, of course, ice. Ein, same word in modern Irish, bird, or in this case, of birds. Gigran is the barnacle goose. That's our, you know, mouthful in English. Eti was, of course, the genitive of ete, which is of wings. Talking about the birds and the barnacles here, barnacle goose. Aigre was of ice, and giogran is of the barnacle goose, of a barnacle goose rather. Ete is here wings, just wing, sorry. So let's try that again. Aigre was of ice, aigred is ice. Ein is bird or of birds. Ete, remember, is that a nominative or genitive? It's, of course, the nominative, meaning wing. And the next one, eti, then is, of course, that's right, of wings. Gigran is barnacle goose. And giogran then is the genitive of that, of a barnacle goose. Excellent. So this is now, we've looked at all the nouns. You should have some sort of idea. You probably don't remember all of them straight away, but that's okay. You can go through this video again and again, but I'd say you probably recognize quite a lot of these nouns already. So a story, stag, winter, for Rofai Sav is the summer. Gaeth art ur, so we know it's wind. Grian is the sun. Gair rith is the course. Ruethech rian, we know, it's sea. Roruad rath is bracken. Rokleth crus is, that's right, it's the form. Now here we have a barnacle goose, of course, giogran, and guth was the voice. So of the barnacle goose voice, of the voice of the barnacle goose, really. And the final line is rogav uacht. Uacht was uacht, Cool, that's right. Etienne is wings, and Ern is, remember that, of birds, that's right. Aigre is of ice, that's right, and time is re. And emo shkeel was news, or in fact, story. Excellent. Okay, you see, we have already learned quite a lot of words now, so this is beginning to really turn into something intelligible, right? So let's look at the next part, the adjectives, of course. And here they are. They are art, which means high, ishel, low, the opposite of that, ur, like urt, right? Cold, excellent. Gair is short. Gnath is usual. Ruethech is swift running, and roruat is very dark red. So let's go through this. Art means high. Gair, remember that one? Short, that's it. Gnath, usual. Ishel is low. Roruat, very dark red. Ro there means like it's an intensifier. The word for red is, of course, ruad in modern Irish, rua. So, you know, and Cherarua, for example, the town through the west of Galway, and Cherarua is, of course, the red quarter. So rua, very dark, ro ruad, very dark red, or extremely red, if you want. And ruad then means red. Ruethech is swift running, so you know, you're moving really fast. And ur is, yes, cold, excellent, having to do with furcht that we've already learnt. So let's try it one more time. Ruethech was running, exactly, and swift running in particular. Ruad is red, excellent. Gair is short, and ishel is low. So somebody who's small and tiny almost, is sort of, gair or ishel, so to speak, somebody quite far down, so to speak, like a kid. Anyway, art is the opposite, of course, it's high. And ur, yes, that's it, you've got it now, cold. Roruad is very red, very dark red, extremely red, and gnath was usual. Excellent. So let's look at these adjectives then in here and put them in there and turn the story gradually into something that you can understand and we can translate. So we had done a story, and the first bit that we have there is we turn high, wind, art. So wind, high, and the next one is ur in the second verse. That's cold, of course. Ishel is what? In the connection with sun. I mean, the sun can be high, but we have already high winds. This case, of course, it's low sun, high winds, low sun. Yes, well, it's winter, we presume. Gair is short. Ruethech is swift running. Remember that. So the swift running sea. So this is turning into something. The second verse, now we're almost there. There's only one black word left. Wind, high, cold, low sun, short, coarse, swift running sea. Description of an Irish winter, really, And if you've been there in Ireland in winter, you know that this is very close to the mark. Next verse then, roruat. Roruat is how the bracken is, dark red, of course. Rogav is usual. Of the barnacle goose, the voice. So we have already turned quite a bit there as well, although we are still missing 4 words really. Although you'll see that there are 2 really. So the next one, rogav, cold wings of birds of ice time, Amos story. So we're getting there. This is turning into quite a lot of red that we can understand. So let's look at the next bit, which are almost the final bits, which are the verbs now. And the verbs here are green. So you can see there's only 6 verbs there for you. So let's see what they mean. Dordid is bellows. Wonderful word. I love that word, bellows. Hardly used nowadays, unfortunately. But I guess things have changed. Not much bellows these days. Snigit, pours down, flows. Rofaith is fethed, goes or makes one way, or has gone, so to speak. It comes from fethed. It's the past tense, ro, with this ra in front of it, turning into a past. And the same with the next one, rokleth, from the verb kedit, which means hides, and it means then, of course, has hidden. And rogav, which is again a perfect tense, so has taken hold of. Gavit means taking hold. So let's see how you remember these. Kedit, yes, it means hiding, or hides. Rofaith, with a ra, it has to be a perfect tense. Has gone, that's right, has disappeared. Dordid, bellows. Great word, dordid. You can really sort of hear it bellow. It's almost onomatopoetic, just like in English. Fethed, goes, makes one's way. So these are all present tenses. And now another past tense, rogav, meaning has taken hold or has happened. Something occurred, so to speak. Snigit, another present tense, pours down and flows. Rokleth, another past, has been hidden. So we have kelit in the first line, and then rokleth later on, the past tense, so hides and has been hidden, and gavit, meaning again takes hold. So let's try that again. Kelit, present tense of to hide, so hides. Dordid, another present tense, was, yes, bellows. You remember that one. Of course, fethed, goes, makes one's way. Gavit means taking hold, grabs, with the hand, sort of. Rokleth, past tense, or perfect rather, has been hidden. Remember, kelit and rokleth. Rofaith, has gone. Rogav, has taken hold of, happened. And do you remember snigit? Pours down, flows. Excellent. So let's see how they fit in. Very few black words left. So let's go and grab those verbs. So we have a story. Lemduif, dordit. What does the stag do? Of course, he bellows. That's right. The winter does what? Snigit. It pours. Rofaith is gone. Okay. Wind, high, cold, low, sun, short, something, course, swift running sea. Now next verse, dark red bracken. What happened to the form? It is hidden. Rogav, what happens? Usual, has gotten usual of the barnacle voice, goose, the voice. I know it doesn't really sound like very much yet, but we'll turn it around a little bit in a moment, and then you see how it all comes together beautifully. So we have the last one there, rogav, has taken cold, with wings of birds of ice time, and something as a story. So we're almost there. 3 more, 4, 5 more words, and we're there. So let's look at them. They are the next ones. They're pronouns and prepositions for you. And they are a little bit more tricky sometimes in Celtic languages because they have something that's called prepositional pronouns. And prepositional pronouns, it's a real mouthful, and try saying Latin in Irish, and it doesn't get any better. But what they really mean is they are prepositions that are combined with a pronoun. And they're a real stumbling block for people trying to learn a Celtic language. But once you've mastered them, they just become second nature. And that's what we have here. We have a preposition. So in this case, the preposition with, which is la, and the pronoun first person singular, which is me. Okay, so with me. Lem is from la, with, and it means with me. And the next one is duiv, is from the preposition do, which means to, and the second person plural, which is you, not you person, as in I talk to you, but I talk to you many people. So to many people, to you plural. So duiv. And now we have a few other pronouns, personal pronouns. The first two, a is he or it. There's no specific neuter pronoun in Irish. and we have mo, mean that's these other two are possessive pronouns, basically saying my and her. So let's see how those two go together. So just a little aside so that you understand what actually happens. They are important parts of speech and they do something to the noun afterwards sometimes. And here we have something else that's extremely Celtic, which is that the first letters of nouns or other words as well, incidentally, can be changed depending on what comes before. Okay, now don't worry, but it's just, you don't need to learn this as such. I just thought I'd show you what's going on, because it's something when you ever look at anything in a Celtic language. Welsh is even worse than this, believe me. So Irish only has two types of initial mutations. They are lenition, and they are, there's an E missing, and something that's called eclipse. And so in this case, for example, if you have his cow, you say, the question is whose cow? Cow means bow. His cow is a vo, where you change the B from bow into, the spelling convention here is to stick in an H, meaning that you change the initial consonant, the B in this case, to V. So a vo is lenition, and her cow is a bow. So the only distinction you have between his cow and her cow is how you pronounce the first consonant. Okay, that's it. That's all you need to know. And in the case of their cow, you have this eclipse, which means you don't have a vo or nothing at all, but you have a mo. So the B disappears and it's actually an M. But the B is just written there so that you can still see that the word is actually bow originally. Right, so giving you a little overview here how that looks in reality, but don't worry about it. It's just so that you have an idea and a reference section. See, the C turns into CH or GC and so on. So in lenition you stick in an H. And I've written something in brackets here because the G, the B, the D and the M, there the lenition is never shown in the ancient manuscripts. And lenition in F and S has a dot. Okay, quite detailed, don't worry about it. And here's now eclipse. Again, eclipse of C, P and T is not shown, only with G, B and D. Okay, right. We skip over this quickly before you die on me here with horror of the complexity of all of this. But anyway, you don't need to know about it too much. What you need to know is how it works. So lem meaning with me. So we have your prepositional pronoun with me, the preposition la meaning with. And the next one is another preposition. Do you remember what it meant? It means to or for. And the prepositional pronoun dave, which is to you or for you. A, remember that? It's a personal pronoun, third person singular, he or it. And mo is a possessive pronoun, my. And as I said, I've written the Irish terms here, chevu, which is lenition, and uru, which is eclipse. Okay, so here we are. This is what happens, her, his, and their. This is how you work that out. Just so that you've seen it, I wouldn't expect to test you on it. Right, so let's just look at this now. Pronouns and prepositions. We have very few words left and we can finish this now. We can now look at the final black words and turn them into something else, which is, first word, a story, lem, which was, remember that, with me, and doiv, for you. A story with me, for you. Short, a course. Of course, was. That's right. Her. Is, and the final one, remember that was, yes. It, in this case, it is mo, my story. Wow, we have it. Now what do you say to that? Excellent. Story with me for you, bellow stag, pours winters, gone summer, high wind, high cold, low sun, short her course, swift running sea, Dark red bracken is hidden form has gotten usual of the barnacle goose, the voice, okay, has taken cold wings of birds of ice time, it is my story. Right, now I admit that doesn't sound completely intelligible as yet, so let's look at these words, these expressions that are in there in more detail. The first one is Sciel lem duif, a story with me for you, literally, but it really means I have a story for you. Right, first line. Dordid dav, bellows the stag. Snigit gaiv, pours the winter. Rofaith sav, has gone the summer, or summer has gone. Winter's pouring, summer has gone. And what pours in winter? Well, I think anybody who's ever been to Ireland know it doesn't just pour in winter. But anyway, next part. Geis art ur, wind, high, cold. Yes, the wind is, and see, there's no, normally in English we would, in many other languages, we would expect a wind, high and cold. In Irish or in Gaelic, you don't need to put an and in between there. If you translated it into proper English, so to speak, it would be wind, high and cold. Wind, comma, high and cold. But as I said, you don't need to do that in Irish. Isha grian, low the sun, or low sun. Gad arith, short its course. Ruathech rian, swift flowing sea. And next one, Roruad wrath. Dark red bracken has hidden its form, Rukles Kruth. Rogav's gnath, it has gotten usual, and really what that means, it has become usual to hear this. Rogav gnath. So Gaelic, this funny verb, it has many different meanings, and sometimes you have to fiddle around with the semantics a little bit to see how it works out. So in this case, it has become usual to hear. Giergraun Guth, the voice of the barnacle goose. Rogav Ucht has taken the cold, but this is how it reads. But of course, in the Celtic languages, you start off with a verb. So this is not actually a question in English. This would be a question: has the cold taken? But in Irish or in Celtic languages in general, you start off with a verb. So this is just a normal verb, a normal sentence, meaning the cold has ceased. But what has it ceased? The wings of birds. Okay, yes, well, that I can see that image, the birds not particularly happy with the cold. Of ice, a lifetime. It is a lifetime of ice if you turn it around. And again, what's missing here is a verb, but the verb is implied, just so that you know. It's the verb to be is implied in front of that because, as I said, verbs is how the sentences start off. And sometimes if it's a verb to be, you can just leave it out. Emoshkil, same thing here. It is my story. Again, the is implied. You don't need to actually say it. So in here, I've actually given you the poem again in its whole beauty. Skelem duif dordit dam, snigit gaif, rofaith sav, gaith ur art, ur isha grian, gaira ris, ruethech rian, ruad krath, rokleth krus, rogav gnath, geograun gus. Congratulations, you have now learned how to translate an ancient Irish poem. I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope if you did, you share this with your friends and sign up to my channel if you haven't done so already, so that you get notified when I share some more ancient Celtic wisdom with you.